Miami Dolphins have had a busy day 3 to this point. They just finished making 3 selections in round 5. We'll talk about each of those picks, what the Dolphins have done in the entire NFL draft to this point as we get into round 6 and round 7. But we would be remiss if we did not start out today's show by talking about what Miami and Chris Grier did initially on day 3. Because remember, they had one 4th-round pick after making a trade earlier with the Raiders, and that was at pick number 116. But they traded back from 116 with the Houston Texans. The Dolphins received pick 179, which will be used in the 6th round, and they received a 2026 3rd-round pick. I actually love this trade. I do. I'm a massive fan because you pick up better value. You won this trade on the trade value chart in a huge way. You get more draft capital to use in the offseason if you want to make a trade, or if you want to just wait and make a draft pick in the top 100 next year, and all you gave up was one of your 3 7ths and that 4th, and you get back a 6th. I love the trade that this was made, and I'm a big fan of it. But then this took us to the 5th round, where the Dolphins had 3 picks, 143, 150, and 155. Well, the first pick the Miami Dolphins made was in the trenches once again. They went with the defensive lineman out of Maryland, Jordan Phillips. So the first 3 picks the Dolphins made, Kenneth Grant at 13, D lineman. Jonah Savaiinaea, number 37, the O lineman. And then they went with a D lineman again here in Jordan Phillips. And I really like this pick for the Dolphins. It's one of my favorites of the 5 because you got really good value. Our own Chat Sports had him ranked as the 108th player. So you get him at 143. That's good value. But that means you also are completing this room. And I do want to get this on the record right now, right away. Jordan Phillips is not a pass rushing defensive lineman. He is not. He is a physical, big body that played mostly nose tackle for Maryland. He had a career-high 29 tackles this past season for the Terrapin defense. But he is a run stopper. And when you think about the room that the Dolphins now have at defensive line, you have Kenneth Grant, Zach Sealer, Benito Jones, and Jordan Phillips. It's a decent room now because I do think Phillips could be a good rotational piece right away. And people on Twitter were pretty happy about this pick for Miami as well and applauded the selection at 143. The Athletic's Dane Brugler on Phillips, saying that he's a dancing bear with big man twitch and commanding power, but his immense talent needs to be unlocked by more mature timing and technique. Although he will need time, he has the traits and work ethic to become a rotational nose with the upside of an NFL starter. So to me, you're going to have your starting defensive line set. Benito Jones is going to be starting nose tackle. Kenneth Grant and Zach Sealer are going to work side by side as your top 2 interior D linemen, and then Jordan Phillips will be your backup nose tackle. But if he ultimately pans out and shows flashes in minicamp, OTAs, and the preseason, well, maybe he can actually get more playing time as the season progresses. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel because we are going to continue to bring you Dolphins content every single day, recapping every pick the Dolphins make. We'll have our full draft grades video out later today, but we have videos every single day, so make sure you subscribe and join the channel. With the next pick the Dolphins made at number 150, they went with the DB, son of Brandon Marshall Jr., Florida, Jason Marshall Jr. We have been pounding the table for a corner. I am not a fan of this pick. I'm not going to give my official grade on it right now. We'll do that later today. But with Virginia Tech's Dorian Strong still on the board at the time of making this pick and Kansas's Kobe Bryant, I'm a little perplexed. And I'm not a fan. It's my least favorite pick the Dolphins have made out of the 5 selections so far. We'll talk more about Marshall and give you a scouting report here in a second. But we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy sports platform I play every single day. And with the basketball playoffs rolling on, get started and don't miss out on your last chance to get points, rebounds, assists. Pick more or less for your shot total up 2,000 times your cash today. Turn your playoff hot takes into tickets to basketball's championship series, starting with the play-in round and playoffs. Every lineup you make on Prize Picks will enter you into the Takes the Ticket sweepstakes, which could get you in a +1, a VIP trip to the ship. They've got Taco Tuesday, every Tuesday, discounted projections on the board. Flex Friday, that protects you on Fridays. My entry today for the playoff basketball action, more than Tyler Hero, 25.5 points, more than Nikola Jokic, 27.5 points, and then more than Dylan Brooks 1.5 3-pointers as well. 3-player entry there. Join me and the millions of others right now. Download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, let's talk about Jason Marshall Jr. some more now, the newest corner for the Miami Dolphins. You see it here from Chat Sports. He was borderline draftable, and he has a 7th-round UDFA grade on him here. He was a former 5-star recruit. So there was at one time a lot of hype for this guy. He's got relatively solid size, 6 feet and change, 195, solid speed, 4.49 40 for his size, 9.42 RAS, good vertical, 37.5 in a broad jump. So you hope that he's explosive. A little bit older, turned 23 in September. This past season, he only played in 7 games, dealt with some injuries, completion percentage of 52.6% when targeted. Last year, 44.7%, and this 2022, 56.3%. So there is hope. He's not much of a ball hawk, only 2 career interceptions, and doesn't have a lot of special teams value either. So the torn labrum forced him to only play 6 games this past season. It is what it is. I would have rather went elsewhere, but I am going to hope that he ultimately becomes a good pick for the Dolphins. Son of an NFL player, former 5-star recruit, maybe he puts it all together for the Fins. Last thing we'll talk about here when it comes to Jason Marshall Jr. Wanted to showcase what Dane Brugler said on the corner. Then Marshall has the size and athletic ability to tighten throwing windows and man coverage, but inconsistent reads and reactions are too common on his tape. If NFL teams are convinced he is coachable, he is worthy draft and develop candidate. So doesn't seem like a player that I or draft experts believe is going to be someone to play right away. We'll ultimately see, though. All right, the next pick the Dolphins made at 155, Dante Trader Jr., the safety from Maryland. And before we talk more about him, and I'm a little bit shocked at this pick because I like some other safeties on the board, I did want to get your thoughts on the Dolphins' 3 picks. You know what? We can use all 3 of these. Grade the Dolphins' 3 picks. We talked about Jordan Phillips, Jason Marshall Jr., and now we're going to talk about Dante Trader Jr. Initially, what is your pick? A, B, C, D, or F? Grade how the Dolphins' 5th round went. Go down in the comment section and let me know. But speaking on Trader, and I think we have a larger conversation about the safety room, which we'll have here in just a second, but he's 5'10", 196, 2nd Maryland player taken by the Fins here. Obviously, they took Jordan Phillips a little bit earlier. He split time between strong safety and free safety last year for the Terrapins, even played some nickel. The problem with him, and the part that I'm a little down on, he is not an athletic guy. And I project him to be a run-stopping box safety at best. When you look at his RAS, 2.93 at free safety, 3.62 at strong safety, 3.27 at corner. He's not athletic. He's not a good 40. He doesn't have straight line speed. It's 4.65. Like, his instincts are cool. He's physical. And he was a good tackler this year. But he was not that good career-wise when it came to tackling, but he improved this past year. You see the testing numbers from Dante Trader Jr. Not good, folks. Like, his missed tackle percentage this year was 4.8%. That's awesome. But in years prior was 18.3%, and his career was 12.9%, as I'm looking at some statistics here. So, yeah, he was a better tackler this season for the Maryland defense, but his history would suggest he's really not that good of a safety in terms of making tackles. It's a little concerning for me. That's fine, Justin, by the way, to just show that behind the scenes. But when you talk more as a larger conversation here at safety, we're done. We're not signing someone. Because when you look at what the Dolphins now have, they signed Iafatu Melifonwu. They signed Ashton Davis. They brought back Elijah Campbell. They have the 6th-round rookie from Cal, Patrick McMorris, returning, and now they drafted Dante Trader Jr. in the 5th round. That is 5 safeties. I do not anticipate them signing one in free agency. It seems with how they address D-line and O-line so far in this draft that they will use their money post-draft to target a specific corner that they might have been in contact with and believe is going to sign with the Fins. All right, let's round out today's show by looking at everything the Dolphins have done so far through their first 5 picks. They took Kenneth Grant, the D lineman from Michigan, at 13. Then they traded up in round 2 to take the O lineman from Arizona, Jonah Savaiinaea, who is likely going to start at left guard or right guard and complete that D lineman unit. And then the 3 players here in the 5th round we just talked about: Jordan Phillips, Jason Marshall Jr., and then the most recent one, Dante Trader Jr. The Dolphins still have 3 projected picks. We'll see if they trade up, trade back in, and maybe get a 4th pick at pick 179 from that trade with the Texans in round 6, and then 2 7th rounders at 231 and 253. I do expect Miami to maybe target a running back. I expect them to maybe target a quarterback, maybe even a tight end with those last 3 picks to add to these depth charts in these rooms. I also wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to double down at either offensive line or cornerback with the last 3 picks as well. We'll keep you tuned here, so hit that sub button. If you're watching this, we are live on the channel right now, so join our live show to round out the rest of the NFL draft, but we'll have breakdowns of the picks later on in a full 7-round draft grades for the Fins as well later today. So hit that sub button and join the channel right here.